So, first question.
One, two, 1, 2.
From IMRGB at MP Bonato.
Is out.
So,
Hello, hello.
I feel like, I mean, feel free to jump in, but I feel like this would be a good question for you, Melissa. When a woman is in a management position, how to deal with situations when she is named bossy for being strong and important and outspoken. So you talk a lot about management. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Is this on? Yeah? I think there's lots of words that we use to convince women that they have less power than they do, and many of them begin with B. Some of them are not as nice as bossy. But I think, like, for me, those words hurt and they have power. And I think for women who are looking at managerial positions and are interested in sort of going down that path, it can keep really amazing women from taking leadership roles in technology organizations because they're worried about the backlash of what happens when they're called bossy, or the backlash of what happens when they sort of feel like they have to be liked to be in the workforce. And I think I'd love to sort of see that change over time. But I think that for women who are interested in positions of power, it is an amazing thing to be able to go into work every day and feel like you're supported. And so if you are interested in that role, but you don't feel supported in your current organization, I would encourage them to look for places where there would be natural sort of like mechanisms of support.
Yeah. Does anybody else?
I would just add tackling it head on. I think a lot of our conversations are missing common vocabulary. So often when we talk about the like unspoken rules of like you're not allowed to call a girl bossy, I think we're missing the opportunity to actually have a conversation with people from both sides of the fence. If you will. And I think, especially when a woman is in a position of power, it's unfortunate, but it almost comes down to her. It almost comes down to her to start having these conversations before they become normalized for the rest of her team.
Good points. Okay, we got another question from @GAYATRI underscore Godfrey. Sorry if I'm just saying this all wrong, but the question is, what are your best tips for dealing with people trying to put you down? Talisa, you talked a lot about like overcoming a lot of adversity. Do you want to take?
Yeah, sure. So I often tell the girls that I mentor, when people doubt your intelligence, just be confident in their stupidity. So it's always a person who's going to be always going to be a person who is doubting you, and like that has helped me, just believing that the fact that you're doubting me, you don't even know what I'm capable of. So I can just outshine you like in a minute, and you won't even know how it happened because you wasn't even expecting it. It's like, I love boxing, and it's always the person who's underestimated who comes with that uppercut, and you're like, oh my God, he laid him out, wow. And then it's just like, so that's pretty much how I combat doubt. So just a lot of the stuff, I carry these things inside rather than, some people call them affirmations, but like if that empowers you to get you through the doubt or the discouragement that you might be facing in your workplace, from your peers, from your managers, whoever it is, like those things, thinking high about yourself, being confident in the things that you can deliver. And if you don't feel confident in your skills, there's always ways that you can level them up so you do feel confident, because doubt and insecurity really do come from not just having confidence and belief in what you're capable of delivering or doing. So that's how I would say that really does work. Like really, it's not like, oh, believe in your heart and you can fly, but like it's like really believe in what you can do and know what you can do and just do it.
Just block out the haters. All right, we got another question. Let's see. What are the 3 most important things we need to do in the next 10 years? Actually, I'm sorry. I already asked one of your questions, so I'm going to ask someone else. So this is from Yvonne Caramoy at Yvonne KN. How do you identify allies in tech versus those that capitalize on you or seek to tokenize you? And Alicia, why don't you tackle this one? How do you identify your allies and people who might want to tokenize you?
Well, my allies are the ones that you least expected. They really are. So when I'm reaching out there, I was reaching out to try to get somebody to help me build my app. And I was hoping that it would be women. And it was men. And I was so shocked, but I also was very grateful, because that changed the way I thought about the negativity that a lot of people put out there about men. Because there are a lot of men out there who support everything we do. A lot of them. We don't see them, you know, but we hear them. You know, I hear like when I'm on Twitter, a lot of them is like, I am so proud of you. I love what you do. And, you know, and it's just seeing that just speaks volumes. So now if anybody comes to me, I don't even care. You know, if it's that man who's going to speak, I mean, one of the guys who came to me, Joshua, he actually helped me design Pivo for me. So now there's a new version of it, and it was a male who helped me do it. So never underestimate, you know, your allies. It's just they're there for you to help you. And some of them are so nice and they're willing to give even more than what you expect. Be grateful that they're doing that for you. Because a lot of times, I'm gonna our women could be our worst enemy, babe. We will go against each other in a heartbeat, and we keep thinking that as women we can support each other. But you got to be careful who the women who you have around you are. Seriously. So a lot of males do feel, they do know what the situation is. They do know that there's a lot of issues going on with women in technology, and they want to make a change in that. You know, so, and like I said, they're the silent ones. They really are.
I would just add one thing to identifying allies. So you can't appoint yourself as an ally. So the first thing I do to identify allies is I ask them who have they allied for and how have they allied. Like an ally provides opportunities, provides intros, provides access, provides mentorship, even if it's not all day, every day, just some information. So that's how you can ally, and that's how you can identify an ally. Like if a guy tells you, yo, I'm an ally, I like chicks all the time, all day, and you're like, I love women in tech. Like who? Like who do you like in tech? Like, you know, ask those questions.
Yeah, I once heard someone also said instead of saying allies, should look for sponsors, which are those who actually help us with actually getting opportunities instead of just saying, oh, I'm an ally.
Yeah. Or mentor, because a
Yes.
sponsor can open those doors too.
Exactly. So I think I'm just going to take one more question. Again, apologies for going over time. I'm going to take one more question so that you all have a few minutes to talk to the speakers personally. So last question. So this is from Natalie Araz at NATA, TAC. So I think this applies to all of you since you've all been speaking at events a lot. Some ladies have been speaking at events like these for a while. How do they start public speaking as part of their career?
Let me start that first one on that one. So I didn't want to speak. I swear I didn't. And everybody's like, Leisha, you have this great personality. You have this energy. People want to hear you. And I'm like, I don't want to speak, man. I don't want to speak. But because of Women of Code and Kim Creighton and there's other women there, they say, Leisha, you have a story. You need to tell it. People need to hear you. And that's how I started. So I started in, I believe it was 2013, and did my first talk then, and then gradually got into speaking across the world and speaking on diversity and inclusion, unconscious bias, and about Pivo.
Huda, we had a conversation earlier.
About getting into speaking, and
Yes,
actually, Alicia, Christina, and I were talking about this a bit earlier. I personally think speaking is really interesting in learning more about yourself, both as a person but also as a communicator. Because if you're a clear communicator, you're probably going to be a successful speaker. And I think for me, the motivation was really around not seeing people who looked like me speak a lot. And it's a difficult position to be in because it's a bit of a minority tax that you pay, where you're tasked with all the work of having to do the work, in order to see the representation ultimately. And I think for me, just getting started in it, it was small opportunities that came my way first, and just a little bit of confidence from surrounding yourself with the right people who said, no, you should take that opportunity. And I think the reason I always highlight Metro Morning as a big one for me is because it has such an impact in the city. It's really weird. Every time I'm on Metro Morning, I get way more reactions from people than if I'm on national television. And I think those little things add up to a lot eventually. And you learn about your own speaking style. So for me, I was telling a couple of you here, for me, I actually am really good off the cuff. So if I prepare too much, I'm actually a really flat speaker. But if I wing it, I'm actually using the audience's energy to go with it. So I think you start to learn that as you do more and more speaking engagements. And I would love if more people did panels first, or maybe smaller meetups first, and then tackled keynotes. And I actually think it's a really lucrative career if you just wanted to be a speaker. I've shared the story previously where about 2 years ago, I started taking on speaking engagements, and now I have this wonderful assistant who actually helps me get paid for a lot of them. And over 2 years, I've made over 6 figures just doing speaking engagements. And I think that's important, and I would love if more women did it.
Yeah. So I actually just did a workshop with Right Speak Code in the States, helping women launch into their speaking careers. So me, I'm naturally loud. So I don't need this, but I'm naturally loud. But that breakdance and astronaut thing, that was real because I love music. And then I found my way in technology via music. So I ended up having a radio show on Sirius Satellite Radio. Then I had a nationally syndicated show in Massachusetts. And then when I moved out to New York, it just became I was a YouTuber before that was a thing. I was crashing red carpets. I was crashing stuff so much that I started getting invited to places. I was like, this ain't real. I'm really on this list. So when I didn't, but technology, speaking wise, as far as technology, I didn't start doing it until 2014, and it was really that same circuit. I started facilitating workshops. I started helping women own their voice and just things like that. And then I'd like to tell jokes, and my partner would be like, you don't get paid to tell jokes. And I was just like, but I want to. But getting paid to speak, I realized after I had all of this press racked up, I was getting invited everywhere. And I'm like, but who is paying? They're inviting me here to speak, but they're not paying. And then I ended up being really fortunate in Silicon Valley. I had a mentor, she was a speaker, and she was just like, you have all of these accolades and you need to be getting paid. So I determined what I want to speak at for free and where I want to get paid at. Because I also feel I don't want to just speak to speak. So unless I have something relevant to say or something that will support and foster growth, I'm not going to just be chatting about stuff to chat. So I'd rather keep my words to myself or put them in my book that people can buy in September.
Learn how to plug yourself too, right? Okay, thank you so much, and thank you all again. I had an amazing night. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.